Welcome to Hotline TV, everybody. I'm John Mercurio.
And I'm Amy Walter. Happy Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras to you. Go Saints. Go Saints.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I'd much rather be here, though, than in New Orleans or at Carnival.
I would, too.
Because you know why? Today is our Olympics issue.
That's
and I wouldn't
correct.
miss this for a minute. In the spirit of the Winter Olympics, the Hotline has decided to award its own shiny hardware,
if you will,
to our favorite political figures / moments. Today we'll be looking at the avalanche. Of course, that won't happen because there's no snow in Vancouver. Of bad news for Democrats. Gold goes to the development that hurts Democrats the most.
Sure.
And bronze, obviously, the least.
All right.
John, let's start from the second runner-up.
Second runner-up, if you will.
Otherwise known as bronze.
Otherwise known as bronze. All right, look, there are several issues right now, I think, that are hurting Democrats in the political landscape heading into 2010. Perhaps, and we can debate this, but perhaps one of the biggest struggles that they're facing is the lack of bipartisanship. That certainly, if you look at polling, what people are saying they're frustrated by. They're frustrated that there hasn't been a health care bill. They're frustrated that there hasn't been a jobs bill yet because Harry Reid was sort of playing games with it last week. On the Hill, that could be a problem for Democrats heading into 2010.
All right, so are you saying you agree or disagree?
I don't know. I know it's out there, and I probably do ultimately agree. I think, though, you know, you certainly have a very influential wing of the party that was extremely powerful in 2006 and 2008, the liberal base of the party, that has been so far last year, I think pretty lackadaisical and unenthusiastic and discouraged by Democrats on the Hill and by this Obama White House, and by reaching out to Republicans in 2010, I think Democrats risk losing the energy in that base.
Okay, well, I'll do my counterpoint, which is I don't know if that energy is ever coming back.
Whoa.
And I don't know that there's anything they can do to do that. Their bigger fear, I think, is that they're losing independence, and they're losing independence not because they're not being bipartisan necessarily, but because they're showing that they're not competent at all. And part of that about the jobs bill seemed to me that the theory I don't really understand at all is let's put Republicans on the spot and make them try to vote against something that could be popular, and then we'll hit them for that and say, see, Republicans voted against a popular piece of legislation.
Right.
Well, actually, correct me if I'm wrong here, but now Democrats are talking about passing a standalone jobs bill that is less money, is likely going to create 0 jobs, and certainly by November, you're not going to see a big turnaround.
Okay.
And then Republicans get to say they voted against something that didn't work. That doesn't seem bad to me.
Right.
So really unclear. I think this whole idea that we're going to put Republicans on the spot, we're going to make this a choice election, we're going to do all this legislative maneuvering only comes back to the point that the party seems to be getting nothing done. At the same time, Obama keeps talking about being post-partisan. It just all
very, very well put. All right.
Silver
medal. The silver medal going to Amy Walter.
The fear of Obama by members of his own party.
Yeah, that's gotta hurt.
Wow. What did we see? We've already seen today. Now in Missouri, this makes some sense. The president going out to stump for a longtime ally of his, Claire McCaskill,
even though she is senators to endorse him in the race.
Even though she's not up until 2012, there is an open Senate seat, though.
But interestingly, Robin Carnahan, the Democratic candidate for that race, is not planning to attend the St. Louis fundraiser with Senator McCaskill or with Barack Obama. She's at this point, you know, she has a pretty effective or a pretty obvious strategy. She's running against Washington. She is a very well-known political name in the state, and she has served as Secretary of State. She's never served in Washington. She's running against Roy Blunt, whose name is sort of synonymous with Washington insider. It's best, I think, at this point, it's smart politics, but it sends, I think, a very dangerous message from a swing state like Missouri for Democrats to be running away from Obama.
And you don't even have to be from a swing state, right?
Well, you don't even have to
AG Richard Blumenthal running for, I don't know, one of the most blue Senate seats in the country in Connecticut.
61% he got in Connecticut.
Saying he's withholding judgment on whether he would actually attend an Obama event or actually have Obama come in and campaign with him.
Right.
You know, again, I will give credit here because we give credit when we take things from other people.
Sure, we do.
To First Read this morning that noted, you know, the fact is that Obama is not that unpopular. When you
Right.
look at his overall approval rating, this is not George Bush-like ratings. This is not a guy down in the 30s and low 40s. He is somewhere around 50%. Certainly in Missouri, he's lower than that. But again, it's not to the place where where President Bush was
Well,
going in
Connecticut's the real
2008,
shocker,
and
I think.
Connecticut too, though, right? So it's Washington that is the problem, and you're right. Everybody, I don't care what you're running for, you're running from Washington.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. And
And
finally, who gets
speaking
the
of
gold
who's
medal?
running from Washington, nobody is running faster and more furious away from Washington this week than Senator Evan Bayh. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Democrat from Indiana announcing on Monday, that he would not run for a third term because basically he hates
Hates it here.
Washington and the people who live there.
Wow.
That's a paraphrase, but I'm feeling pretty confident. This hurts
God.
Democrats in
so many
many ways. This was a race that Bayh was uniquely positioned as a Democrat to win, to hold on to.
Yeah.
He was ahead by 20 points. He had $13 million in the bank. He somehow, I think, was uniquely able to still run as an outsider, which is weird for a
Yeah.
Democrat who's been here for 12 years. He was never a team player. He was never part of Democratic leadership. He obviously had served 2 terms as governor of Indiana. Somehow, I don't think that the label of insider would have stuck to him, especially in a race against Dan Coates, who Democrats have spent the past 2 weeks painting as this D.C. lobbyist who's
Right.
lived in Virginia and North Carolina. This is really bad for Democrats.
Well, and then the other way it hurts him is in his going away speech, he says, maybe I can go into the private sector and create jobs because it's not like Congress is going to do it.
Right.
Thanks for the help there. If you're another Democrat, you think that's not going to show up in an ad somewhere
Well,
in
it
Indiana?
already has. We already saw the NRCC and NRSC putting out talking points on that exact quote.
Yeah, no, so this, I think, just is a disaster for the party. And plus, did we mention that he did it 5 minutes before filing closed?
Yeah.
So that, another real problem for the party. All right. Last words.
Yes.
It's that time.
Let's look ahead. Let's look ahead to
Okay.
next week, or at least.
So it's hard to believe we've only have 5 states where the filing deadline has passed. We've got 45 more states to go. The next big one coming up, Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas. There's a big Senate race.
There's
in
a Senate
Arkansas.
race there. There's a Democratic incumbent who, like Chris Dodd, like Harry Reid, has bad poll numbers running behind unknown Republican candidates. Do you think she runs for re-election?
I do think she runs for re-election. I think that she's already assured Democratic leaders in the Senate that she will. It wouldn't be bad necessarily for her not to run, but I think at the end of the day, she would have announced earlier than today if she wasn't going to.
I'm going to say she's going to retire.
Okay,
I'll
wow.
just throw it out there. Look, I don't know what the incentive to stay and has to be the lowest it's ever been. And I think you already have somebody who, remember, she has left once before when she was pregnant with twins, saying she wanted to go and have a life outside of Washington.
Okay.
It's pretty clear that she's in a lot of trouble. And is it really, worth going through this tough race to come back?
Wow.
Here.
Amy Walter running away from a fight. Running away from a fight is a good thing if
Yeah.
if that's what Amy Walter has to say.
All right, and we are actually out of time
We
for
are.
today.
So until next time, we'll see you on Hotline TV.